Hello, Grace DC. My name's David Raimer. I'm one of the elders here at Grace Downtown. I hope and pray that you are bearing up well amidst our current crisis. You're in my thoughts and prayers, and I very much look forward to the day that we can see each other again. From the time the quarantine started, I've had this story stuck in my head that Glenn told in a sermon 2 or 3 years back. So I will now shamelessly steal that story. But it was actually originally told by an old Presbyterian theologian named B.B. Warfield, and it's about a general in the U.S. Army who was in this city during a time of great social upheaval. There were riots in the streets. The entire situation was horribly unsettled. No one knew how things were going to turn out. And in the midst of all of this, the general goes for a walk through the middle of downtown. And as he's walking, he sees this man approaching him from the other direction. And there's just something about this man that stands out. There's this quiet confidence, this firmness of demeanor. And the two men walk past each other and stop and turn and look at each other. And without any introduction, the stranger walks up to the general, taps him on the chest, and asks, "What is the chief end of man?" And the general responds, "Man's chief end is to glorify God and enjoy him forever." To which the stranger responds triumphantly, "Aha, I knew you were a shorter catechism man." And the general was in fact thinking the same thing about the stranger. Now, Warfield's point in this story is that creeds give confidence. Knowing what we believe, thinking and dwelling on those things can give us quiet confidence in the midst of uncertainty. And that, I thought, is exactly what we as the church, we as Christians should be doing, what we should be exhibiting. That's what I wanted to exhibit during this time of crisis. Well, suffice it to say, things haven't quite gone according to plan, at least on my end. No one stopped me in the street on one of my walks, violated social distancing norms, and demanded that I recite the shorter catechism. Quite the contrary, during this time I felt unsettled, I felt unproductive, and very much uncertain. But that doesn't diminish the truth of Warfield's point. Knowing what we believe, thinking and dwelling on the truths of the gospel can give us confidence amidst all that's going on in the world around us. Now, maybe you're like me. You weren't raised in a Presbyterian home, so the shorter catechism isn't second nature to you. You may right now have a bit more time to flip through that if you're interested. But the truths it contained are found in a lot of places. And one of those places is a song that's also been stuck in my head through this time, and that's "In Christ Alone." I am not Andrew, so I will spare you the singing. But as I'm sure you know, the last verse goes something like this: "No guilt in life, no fear in death. This is the power of Christ in me. From life's first cry till final breath, Jesus commands my destiny. No power of hell, no scheme of man can ever pluck me from his hand. Till he returns or calls me home, here in the power of Christ I stand." Now those words, if anything, should give us confidence. But just a quick word on what confidence does not mean. It does not mean that we should be pretending that everything around us is okay. We're in the middle of a great tragedy. For many of us, we're dealing with circumstances that we never confronted before. We do well to lament. We are going to have questions and doubts. We're going to pray for this cup to pass. But in lamenting and in praying, as Kelly Sampson reminded us during our Bible study on the last week of Christ's life, in doing those things, we're really following Christ's example. You'll remember in the garden, Christ wept. Christ prayed for the cup to pass. But after he did that, he got up, walked over, confronted his accusers, and the Gospel of John records that when they said that they were looking for Jesus of Nazareth, and he responded, "I am he," such was his authority that the guards fell to the ground stunned. So I don't know where you are in our current quarantine situation. If you're like me, you have good days, you have bad days. But amidst those ups and downs, the truths of the gospel remain the same. Think on those things, dwell on them. Go find In Christ Alone on Pandora, on Spotify, on iTunes. Blast that song while you're making dinner, while you're folding clothes. Because it's true. Christ commands our destiny. Think on those things, dwell on those things, and I hope to see you all soon.